Imagine having pennies in your pocket, a backpack on your shoulder, and a dream of being a farmer. Then you were told you could be one. Madam Chairperson, honorable judges, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow 4-H members, I present to you the journey of the Albertan homesteader. The Dominion Lands Act was a way the Parliament would claim land instead of letting the Americans take the land. The act was used to outline surveys and subdivide land. From the years 1870 to 1930, about 62,500 land patents were given to settlers and homesteaders. After that, tens of thousands of settlers started to pour into the region from overseas and the United States. There were 4 requirements if you wanted to get a homestead. Number 1, pay an administration fee of $10. Number 2, you were at least 21 years old. Number 3, agreed to cultivate 40 acres. And number 4, build a permanent home on the land. Once you completed the 4 requirements, you had proved up and you owned free and clear 160 acres and you were able to live on your homestead. The homesteaders would produce crops such as hay, wheat, barley, and straw. The homesteads could be made out of wood or sod. Most people in Alberta lived on homesteads, and it was quite hard to live on one. They even dug root cellars to store their harvest and hide out when disasters like hail or tornadoes would strike. My great-great-grandfather Frank Hubka was born in Bohemia. Bohemia is now called the Czech Republic. He immigrated to North America in 1889. Frank was originally a stowaway because he was trying to avoid joining the army. When he was found, he was almost thrown overboard. He was allowed to stay when he agreed to work in the kitchen. It's not like he had much of a choice. When he landed in North America, he then traveled west and settled in Wisconsin. After Wisconsin, Frank started moving further west and got to South Dakota and stayed there for several years. Then he again went further west to Alberta because homesteading had opened up there and filed homestead papers on the northeast of 6/13/24, West 4 in 1904. My great-great-grandmother Bessie Harava was born in Moravia, which also became the Czech Republic. With her family, she immigrated to New York in 1887. They traveled and settled in Waller, Texas, near Galveston. Meanwhile, back in Carmangay, Alberta, Frank found a bread recipe in a magazine that he tried and liked. He became pen pals with the lady who sent him the recipe. After running back and forth, Frank then decided to take a train to Texas to meet and marry her. This lady was Bessie Harava, my great-great-grandmother. In 1907, they were married and returned together to Alberta, and there they raised 6 kids. On their homestead, a large 2-story house along with a hay-proof barn were built. The barn was used to shelter almost 3 dozen horses and milk cows. At this time, horses were used to pull the farm equipment instead of tractors. The 6 kids attended education at the Rickman Country School. When the kids were going there, they either rode a horse or walked to get there, since it was 1 mile away from their home. This family mostly grew wheat during the early years, and then crops like barley, oats, and rye would eventually be grown on their land. In order for them to break the land, they used horse-pulled plows, and they had to break 40 acres in order to build a living on it. Eventually, tractors replaced the horses, and a farmer could plow many acres in a day. Sadly, during the year 1933, Frank and his 16-year-old daughter, Mary Hubka, died during a train accident in a dust storm. My great-grandfather, Bob Hubka, was 9 years old at the time. Frank's 5 surviving children all remained in the Carmangay area, with 4 of them going into farming, and 1 was a farm equipment and fuel seller. Most of the original land is owned by his descendants. The 5th generation, which I am part of, lives 1 mile away from their original homestead. Farming has changed over the years, with much bigger equipment, and our farm is mostly cattle now. I am proud of the history of my family and our homestead. My great-great-grandfather arrived here with nothing but a dream and made it come true. I wonder what he would think of modern-day farming.